free. Let's call it today, the day that we all are free, shall we? Yes. Why not? You know, we're on this theme of marching into battle against fear. I don't know how many of you read my blog or seen any of the writings in the newsletter when I talk about this theme in a little bit more depth. But I'm going to revisit some of those points along with the points that we have found in our reading, as well as some new thoughts. To march forward is to go forward, to proceed. And so now we are arming ourselves for a battle. And to arm means to provide the equipment, to bear the equipment that is necessary for the task that is before us. And a battle is an encounter. We have many, many encounters with fear throughout our lives, throughout our days. Did anybody wake up from an alarm clock this morning? No? Anybody? Oh, good. Y'all have already disarmed the alarm clock. But there are other alarms that we have in our lives. Does anyone have a fire or smoke alarm in their home? Has anyone ever heard the siren of an ambulance or a police car? Now, anytime any one of those sounds go off, what is your response? Think about it honestly, clearly.
Someone's hurt.
Huh?
Someone's hurt.
Someone's hurt. Where is it? Why do we want to know where is it?
If we know them.
Could be somebody you know. But what does that mean? Does the heart start beating fast? That's fear. Fear that something is going wrong, something is threatening life as we know it. And it is. As if life as we know it was so good. It could be that it is an opportunity now for us to be able to embrace a different kind of life. When we hear a fire alarm, most of the time it's training for a fire drill. And in those moments, we practice what we will do to escape a situation that may appear to be harmful to our body and possessions. Other times that we hear sirens going off, we are alerted to the fact that there is something happening somewhere. There is a sense of distress. And for my part, I would generally drop into prayer, not only for the people that they are going to, but for the people who are headed to that scene. Because if you can imagine the kind of energy that is going on each time this firefighter, this police officer, this ambulance driver or technician or paramedic may be headed to a site where they are seeking to save a life, where they are seeking to restore a sense of peace, a sense of wholeness. And so in their whole body temple, their whole homeostasis is then off kilter. What I mean by homeostasis is the sense of wholeness that we have inherent innately in our beings. When we are triggered by one of these alarms, we are then invited rather quickly into a fight or flight response. And so we either get prepared to fight or we get prepared to run, because it's not a situation that we feel comfortable in, because it's not a situation that we want to remain in as we have perceived it. But remember that, as the reading says, fear is in the mind. Only your mind can produce fear, is what it says. This is what the Holy Spirit is saying through these particular mediums who are bringing the word. Only your mind can produce fear. So fear is not something that God created, although in some traditional religions they would have you think that you need to fear God because it was a misinterpretation in the language when they really meant to be in awe of God. I don't want to be God-fearing. I want to be God in awe of God. And that is the difference in how our mind is functioning. As we were with the message last week when Reverend Edith was giving her talk, Forget Everything, that was preceded by another reading from A Course in Miracles, which talked about the fact that you cannot change behavior without changing thought. Even in this reading, it says to you that correcting at the behavioral level can shift the error from the first to the second type, but it will not obliterate the fear. We want to be about obliterating the fear. That is our charge as we march into battle against fear. Now, normally we are not ones who want to be against anything, but to be for something. But when we realize that this thought of fear is standing in the way of our capacity to love in a greater way, then it must be removed so that we can love more fully and completely. Many people are afraid of having our help. I had made a purchase in my gym one day, and the receptionist was like, "Oh, I owe you 10 cents. And I was like, okay, because I had bought one of these little healthy, energy bars. And I said, girl, really, 10 cents? No, I ain't gonna mess with God because I'm not gonna miss going to heaven because of a dime. And I thought, well, she went to hell in the meantime. When you know that heaven and hell are states of mind, and that is not necessarily just someplace that you go in the by and by when you die, but your state of being. So you can be in a heavenly state when you're in love and joy and peace and freedom and harmony, or you can be in a state of hell when you are in fear and turmoil and misery and disappointment and chaos and confusion and illness and, But you have to understand that this is where you have placed your values. This is where you have placed your attention. I can stand up here and I can be holding all of these different religious faiths and talking to you about oneness, and deacons sing to you about being able to be with each other and take care of each other and help someone in need, and all of these other beautiful things. But the fact is, we're afraid of each other. Breathe into that truth. I mean, it's not a truth in terms of eternal truth, but it is a truth in terms of fact. We love being afraid on the external level because this is what has been encouraged by the media, people in different places who think they have an idea about what the consensus of life should be. Halloween sales, which is a holiday about fear, was anticipated to reach a record-breaking $6 billion in 2009, up 4.2% from the previous year. Over the past 4 years alone, at that point, the Halloween industry grew a remarkable 48.5%. The holiday even broke sales records in 2008 when the economy was a real horror show. How many people like to go on roller coasters? Roller coasters breed fear. Excitement of being afraid. Knott's Berry Farm has a fast lane ticket where you can pay $50 to get on 10 of the park's most popular attractions without standing in line. The most popular attractions at amusement parks are usually the roller coasters. We feed on fear. For the 2010 fiscal year, the President's base budget of the Department of Spending on overseas contingency operations, means war, was $663.84 billion. That's called the Department of Defense, because we have to defend ourselves against those people, right? So we're going to spend $663.84 billion. When the budget was signed into law on October 28, 2009, the final size of the Department of the Defense's budget was $680 billion, $16 billion more than President Obama had requested. No, you're going to need more money. We want to give you more money. Even though we're in the worst economic situation that we've ever been in, we're going to give you another $16 billion for war. So, from 2009 to 2010, they increased the budget spending significantly. Now, let's look at another holiday which represents love. Valentine's Day. Yay. According to research, spending for Valentine's Day peaked around $17 billion in 2008, with the average expression of love cost a whopping $123 per person. Since 2009, consumers have been seeking more economical ways to show their loved ones they care. Total Valentine's Day spending for 2009 was estimated at $14.7 billion, or $102.50 per person. So $14.7 billion, $680 billion. Your focus, your attention is going more towards fear than it is toward love. Those are the facts. Okay? So, when you look at this, you can see that you are really contributing to a state of conscious fear. And so it is up to you, call yourselves 2%, 1%, whatever you want to call yourselves, but know that you have a choice not to be trapped into that status quo kind of thinking, but to choose a different thought from which everyone else seems to be engaged in. I do different kinds of work, and people don't really necessarily understand what I do. Sometimes they know I'm a minister, sometimes they don't. And they'll make comments like, we're all scattered around, all freaking out and everything, and Celeste is just all calm. And I'm like, practice. Okay? because there is an opportunity for you to not get into that whole mindset of, oh my God, what's going to happen, blah, 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 blah. I mean, if you saw it on a cartoon, you think, oh, that's so funny. And you would laugh because you would see how ridiculous it is for the way that we spend most of our time focusing on what possibly could go wrong. Not even happening. But the deal is, your mind doesn't know the difference between pretend and actually happening. So your mind is responding to war. Your mind is responding to pain, to injury, all the time without it actually even happening in your experience. Even when somebody comes close to your car, you're sending your body into a whole stress mode. And so everything that was functioning harmoniously and easily flowing the way it was innately designed, divinely designed to do is now off kilter. Everything starts to compress and retract where things were flowing easily and gracefully. And your breath was moving through your body evenly and with ease. And so now all of a sudden there's a jarring that's happening. And so what that does is it affects every other system. It's just like a car or any other kind of mechanism. When something is jarring, then it causes every other thing to have a chain reaction and to cause something to be out of its systemic perfection. Now that's happening on the outer level, but what's happening on the inner level is a whole different story. What's happening on the inner level is that the God of your being is whispering to you, you are my beloved in whom I am well pleased. I love you. I surround you with love. I am supporting you in each and every moment. I am compassionate. I understand how you can get totally turned around by these outer effects. But I am here, I am present, I am available, I am accessible. I have all of the desires of your heart. The kingdom is within you, and it is available and accessible to you. And so what you affirmed today was that you are one with God. You affirmed today that you are one with peace and joy and harmony and freedom and truth. This is what you affirmed today. You can check your program in case you forgot. You affirmed today that you are willing to be led to your highest good. You affirmed today that you are willing to be led by God's will. That probably won't look like the will of the world. That probably won't look like the will of Wall Street. That probably won't look like the will of the Department of Defense. That probably won't look like some of the people that are around you who are committed to being in fear. You know, I've told this story time and time again. When I came to Chicago into a family member's home, there were bars and gates on the door. And one of the first things that I did was to have them removed. And people thought, what are you doing that for? That's crazy, you know? And this is happening and that's happening. And I'm like, stop. Because I don't want that polluting my consciousness. I don't want to be in that conversation. I don't want to buy into the fact that something might happen to me and that I have to constantly be aware of that thing that might happen to me, and I've got to govern myself by locking as many locks as I possibly can in order to feel safe in my own being. And when we invest in all of these systems to keep ourselves safe, we must understand that anybody who wants to inflict harm will do it regardless of whatever we present or purchase or whatever. And they really don't want to cause harm. They're basically living out this whole fear thing. So when you become a fear monger, you begin to kill just ruthlessly without any sense of what they might call morality, what I will call love, without any sense of love. And so, because love seems to be absent, as the reading tells us, that fear arises from lack of love. And you might say, oh no, I love, I can't be in fear. But fear and love cannot coexist. So you're probably putting a pause on love to be in fear. Oh, you might leave me. Oh, she might leave me. Oh, somebody might hit my car. Oh, somebody might steal my car. Oh, somebody might break into my house. Oh, I might get cancer. Oh, I mean, all of this stuff that you populate your brain with. Or we could say, again, as we said earlier, I forgive myself for my erroneous thinking that led to my mistakes. I don't need to keep punishing myself over and over and over again for choices that I made 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 5 minutes ago, 10 minutes ago, 5 seconds ago. I can know that each thing has caused another effect and another effect and another effect, but that they don't have to continue. Otherwise, you would be subscribing to a totally disparaging life. You have to know that love is a cause that can be put into action in each and every moment. So perhaps you could practice when you hear an alarm go off. It's love time. This is not an alarm for fear. This is an alarm for love. Not an alarm, but necessarily this is an awakening to love. When I hear a fire alarm, this is an awakening to love. When I hear a smoke alarm go off, this is an awakening to love. Because innately, these systems have been built from a place of compassion, not to evoke fear. So, okay, love is not letting me fill my kitchen with smoke. Love wants me alive. This is love time. Let me participate in this self-loving activity by eliminating the thing that has caused this to be activated. When I hear a siren going off, oh, it's love time. This is an opportunity for me to send love to the places that they're going to. This is an opportunity to send love to those service personnel. Oh, there's a threat. I'm going to Iran for war. If anything happens to Israel, there's a commitment to go into war. Oh, this is love time. This is time to send love to Iran. This is time to send love to Israel. This is time to send love to our leadership. This is love time. What time is it? If somebody asks you today because they're thrown off by the time change, tell them it's love time. That's all you need to know. When you say you're willing to release anger and choose love, as you affirm today, you're willing to let go of that tightness that is hardening the arteries around your heart, making you a prime candidate for heart disease. But you're also willing to live and breathe freer because you're willing to release anger. When you choose to practice encouragement and empathy, you don't have to tell your friend, well, girl, you know what might happen. You know what they do. You know what happened to so-and-so. But you can be that place of empathy and encouragement, not encouraging them to be afraid, but encouraging them to have hope and to be standing in their true identity as an expression of love. You can choose love today. This is what you affirm. You affirmed this morning that you were able to live freely, that you were ready to live peacefully. You affirmed that you were committed to loving more completely. When you do so, you're really doing a self-loving activity. You're bringing yourself into a consciousness of love. And when you do that, it absolutely massages your whole inner being. because now your breath is able to go easily and effortlessly into all parts, into all cells of your being. And if you can just turn within for a moment and imagine, instead of all of those things that you saw in the science books, that each one of those cells, each one of those electrons are heart-shaped vessels carrying love to different parts of your body, to your legs, to your arms, to your eyes, to your nose, to your ears, to your heart, is absolutely pumping that energetic throughout your being. And that you are a carrier for love. The name of your battleship is love. And so when you move into this world, when you move into all of its threats, into all of its alarm systems, into all of its sirens, into all of its calls to arms, you are the battleship of love. And you are riding strongly and firmly, powerfully into an ocean of devotion. You are going over the waves of challenges, and you are absolutely staying in the law of buoyancy above any kind of chaos and confusion. And you are sailing on a sea of love. Imagine yourself being the captain of that vessel. Imagine yourself being the commander-in-chief of love. Imagine yourself wanting to win that contest of who can outlove anybody else. Imagine yourself disarming the alarm of your being, not participating in a fight or flight kind of living, but one that is filled with peace and freedom and love. And if you can imagine this, then you're already there. Because the mind knows no difference between what is imagined and what is happening in the realm of experience. You can allow yourself to drop into your spiritual practices of meditation, of visioning, of affirmative prayer, of affirmations, in all of the other teachings and tools that we supply here through our classes and our services. And allow yourself to live that life. It is a life of freedom. And it is what we are all entitled to, certainly as American citizens, but as citizens of the world. A life of liberty and a pursuit of happiness. The good is ours. It is available to us. It is our birthright. Honor it, cherish it, embrace it. Namaste.